Good afternoon, guys. So my topic was all about data flow diagram. DFD, which stands for Data Flow Diagram, provides a visual representation for the flow of data across a system. There are three major components in a DFD. The first one is entity, the second one, database, and the last one is process. An input or output unit can be defined as an entity, and a process establish a relationship between entities database unit. A data flow diagram acts as a flow chart for business processes and information systems. Since it has such a wide range of application, it is commonly used in numerous sectors these days. So, what is data flow diagram? When we say data flow diagram are used to graphically represent the flow of data in a business information system. DFD describes the process that are involved in a system to transfer data from input to the file storage and reports generation. Also represents how data is passed through a system. It provides information about the input, output, and the process related to the system. In simple words, it depicts the flow between different entities in a system and how data is processed. So this is the example of a data flow diagram. Before we get to know what a data flow diagram is, let us quickly discuss its history. The concept was originally derived from graph theory and gained popularity in 1970s when Ed Jordan and Larry Constantine released their structure design book, though it was David Martin and Gerald String that coined this graph as data flow models with their academic research. The next one is physical versus logical logical layer. So when we say logical, it provides an overview of the business activities in a system. It doesn't focus on how the data is stored, rather it let us know how it is implemented. It provides business control and the flow of data as a user perspective. On the other hand, um, a physical layer provides a more low-level representation of how the data is stored. It consists of databases and physical entities that are needed in a system. There are all kinds of manual processes and core data-driven decisions that we can make at physical level. So let's talk about application of DFD. So when we say application DFD, uh, since DFD are so easy to make and have a universal appeal, they are used in numerous ways. So the first one is we have a database designing. With the help of the complete data flow diagram, we can come up with the overall design of the database. A DFD is drawn before database creation as it provides the conceptual and physical structure of the database that can later be used. The next one is a system analysis. Apart from the designing the database, the FD can help us understand how the overall system works by examining the flow of data from one entity to another. We can further analyze the working of the system and its input, output entities. So the third one is we have decision making. Engineers need to make tons of decision during the creation, implementation, and development stages of the database. The 8D can help us make better decision by providing an overall visual presentation of the system. The fourth one is error detection. There are numerous other organizational and management application of ADFD. This is why they are so extensively used in business processing and management sectors. So there are are types there are advantages of DFD. The first one is data flow diagram are pretty simple and considered easy to make. They are extremely diverse and can be used to depict the flow of data in almost very possible system. The next one, apart from the database, the FD can also be used to depict input and output entities. This helps us draw comparison with the real-world entities. The last advantages advantage of data flow is it let us understand the logic concept behind the system and help with its organization management. So of course, we have a limitation when we create DFD. So the first limit when we need is it does not provide a complete picture of the system and leaves some vital physical entities. Sometimes a DFD can be confusing and programmers might not differentiate between its levels. So, two common system of symbols are named after their creators. First one is Jordan and Code, Jordan and Digmarco, Gain and Sarson. So, this picture is the example of their works. Gain Sarson use these symbols and Jordan and Code on the other side. This is the different notations. As you can see, so building blocks of DFD. An internal entity can represent a human, a system, or subsystem. It is where certain data comes from or goes to. It is external to the system we study in terms of business processes. For this reason, people use the draw external entities on the edge of diagram. So the one of the example of internal entity is the customer. So, uh, when we say internal entity, nagrepresent na siya og human kung asa magikan, kung asa gikan ug asa mapadulong ang isa ka product or what. So the example, one of the example is customer. So the second one is process. When we say process is a business activity or function where the manipulation and transformation of data take place. A process can be decomposed to a finer level of details for representing how data is being processed within the process. So the example that is process order. Example dra is kanang mag-order ka o sa Shopee or sa Lazada. So sa business, it's very important Na kailangan jud ka sa very pinakauna is dapat na kay customer. The second one is kung unsa pag-process, kung asa mapadulong ang imuhang transformation of data. The next one is data store. A data store represents the storage of persistent data recorded and or produced by the process. Here is some example of the stores: membership, forms, database, tables. So, sa isa ka data store is very important na ka inventory para mahibaw-an nimo kung pila ang na-produce o na-process sa imuhang data. The next one is we have so this is the example of data play sorry, this is the example of data flow diagram. So we also have data flow. A data flow represents the flow of information with its direction represent by an arrow that show the end. So kanang arrow dra is nagrepresent na siya sa flow sa information kung asa nagsugod ug asa mahuman. So let's talk about different levels of data flow diagrams. So level 0, this is the highest level of the DFD that is simply provides the overall presentation of the system at a glance. It's also known as context diagram. The next one, level 2. Level 1. This is more detailed version of the previous level that includes database different vital entities. And level 2 and beyond. As we dig deeper into the system and provide a more detailed visual presentation of it, DFD level will automatically keep increasing. So, DFD rules and tips. Each process should have at least one input and output. The second one is each data store should have at least one data flow in, one data flow out. The third one, data stored in a system must go through a process. 4. All process in the FD go to another process or a data store. So how the FD works? So, nag-provide ko gisa ka video. So, let's watch this. So that will be. Thank you for listening and I hope nga naka-learn mo sa akong topic. God bless all. Keep safe.